Oh, hi there, big boys, and welcome to my review of The Low Road for Nintendo Switch. This is a nice little game, actually. It's a point and click. Well, I say point and click, not really, because it's on Switch. It's move the analog stick and press the R2 button. Adventure game with a lot of little mini games. Not a lot, but there are mini games attached with them, so it's not just talking to people and clicking on random things, hoping they can combine. We'll get to that later. Wow, I've got to say, the game has some lovely looking art, doesn't it? Especially the water. Don't know if you can see it in the trailer, but wowzers, isn't that some lovely water? And it looks like a sort of postcard. I don't know, especially like when you're moving about. I don't know what it is. There's some sort of postcardy like animation-y sort. It's weird. You know, I'm sure someone knows what I'm talking about. It's not a bad thing. I like it, and yeah, it's actually that's a pretty good thing on its own. Just to staring at it is an awe in itself. But there are some other things about this game. The game is genuinely funny and well written, like really well written actually. Like I was quite invested in just sort of hearing what they were going to say, because oftentimes they were coming up with some very odd phrases and just like if you think you want to say something more often than not, you can say that. You've got so many odd conversation choices, and there's a lot of talking in general. Really, it's quite impressed. I was quite impressed. However, the game is quite short and only a few hours long. It took me about 2, maybe 3 hours to beat. I'm not sure exactly. I've been on Switch, obviously, but I think about 2 or 3 hours. I may have missed some things, but yeah, the game isn't very long. But it's also not too expensive, and I don't know. Point and click games normally quite long. I've not really played many, so I don't know. Now, here's a big problem with point and click games. Obviously, always seem to have this problem. Is that it can feel a bit aimless. Like you don't really know where you're going at times, and it can get very confusing. There's been times where for some reason, had to combine like what was it like some like invisible glue with like what's it called? One of those a writer. What's it called? You know what? The thing which you put paper in and then it prints it out loads of times. Of the dishwasher? That's not right. You know what I'm talking about. The thing you put paper in and it prints it out like 100 times because it's copier, print copy. Okay, whatever. Apparently, for some reason, Post-it Interact used invisible ink with that, so it made the paper invisible. Weird. I mean, I didn't really get that. I had to Google the walkthrough a fair few times because I got a bit confused. I don't know if it's just me being dumb, which it could have been, because I do have trouble with these sort of games. And a hint system would have been nice, because there was times where I had literally no clue what I'm doing, and I was trying to talk to someone thinking maybe they'll give me a hint. All they did was say, "Oh, you've got a silly hat," and then it'll turn itself off. So it's very odd. Also, the game has some very, very confusing controls on the Switch. Very confusing controls, actually, because there was this weird sort of. Well, the game is on Switch, right? The Switch has a touchscreen, does it not? Why is the game not designed to also work with touchscreen? I mean, it sounds like it'd be pretty easy to implement. Maybe I'm wrong, but I've implemented touchscreen support before, not a Switch game, admittedly, but still. Couldn't you just simulate a mouse with it? I don't know. Anyway, yeah, that's a bit weird, and it would have been nice if it had that. So you can move around the analog stick, but you also use the right analog stick to not really use it as a cursor, but sort of move the cursor to objects which can be grabbed or used. And there's also this other problem where if you try and use the items hotbar thing, you've got to press the little minus button. Firstly, a bit odd. Secondly, there's other buttons they could have used. I don't know why they choose that. And then you've then got to sort of click on the one you want on there, and then you've got to hope that it'll appear that you can use it on one of the nearby objects. A lot of the time you can't. It just I don't know, it feels a bit odd. Like it'd be nice to actually physically just be like, I want that one, not that one, that one. It got really confusing at times and didn't really want to listen to me. And of course, this also has some sort of weird issue, because of course there is it's a Switch game. Switch games love having issues. Where I press the A button to combine it and it wouldn't work. I'd be like, what's it doing? I'd have to press it about 5 times, then eventually it would work. I don't know if that was just me being a bit silly again, but it's just a bit odd. So yeah, overall, I think the actual, oh yeah, of course, I forgot to say, the mini games, they're pretty fun. There's a little mini game where you got to grab, like, sort of put stuff inside this guy's pocket by moving away all the other stuff. That is very annoying to do on Switch, because obviously, analog stick, that would have been even more perfect for a touchscreen. They still didn't implement that, and yeah, that got really painful. But they're fun. They're a nice little break away from the usual stuff you do, which obviously is talking around to people. I don't know if that's a phrase. Yeah, that got a bit tiresome. But there was some really fun mini games. There's like this sort of weird, not lock picking, but like, how can I describe it? I don't know, but it was a security style sort of mini game, and that was pretty fun. But there was also some annoying ones, but some fun ones. And there was even one at the start of the game where we had to actually talk to someone, and that was pretty good. So it was like it was like a sort of choice talking thing where you had to try and convince the person that you were who you say you were, even though you weren't, which was quite interesting. Sort of reminded me of LA Noire or something. And I was hoping the game was going to keep that up. It did do it a few more times in the game, but overall not really. There are these sort of fake endings you can get, which is quite good. A nice way of adding a bit of a choice to the game without actually having to add that much more to the actual gameplay. Otherwise you're having to create multiple timelines and different choices with trees and all. But no, yeah, so that was nice. But overall, yeah, this game is alright. I wouldn't recommend it on the Switch, to be honest. I feel like this game would work a lot better on PC where you could actually click stuff. Funnily enough. Yeah, it seemed like it was designed for that. But the writing was really funny, and I'd like to see the rest of these the studio's output, and whoever the writers are, I want to give them commendations, creating. I mean, the story. I probably should say about the story. The story was alright. I mean, it's just a spy thriller, but it had some good characters and it had some interesting plot points and interesting turns and all, but the story wasn't the high point. The high point for me was all the sort of weird conversations, because they just spat out some strange, crazy, silly stuff. Anyway, you just stop spouting out some crazy, random stuff and stop speaking. This game is good. If you like point-and-click games, I'd get it on PC if I were you, though. And I think it is probably the best point-and-click game I've ever played. Because I've only played about 5, but still, it's pretty fun. And I would recommend looking at a walkthrough if you get confused, because I had to. But yeah, this is the low road Nintendo Switch, and it's pretty solid. I enjoyed it. So thanks for watching, big boys. See you some point in time, and bye.